So welcome to a 5-minute watch out on the missing Greenwood saga that I promise I'll be doing on this very channel called Behind the Scene with Moise. And usually what we normally do is that we go down through the backstory of everything that is happening. Now on Behind the Scene with Moise this evening, you are all aware that Man United have released a statement that Mason Greenwood will not play for the club again. It is signed, sealed and delivered that Greenwood will not play for Man United again. But how did it get to this very point? I'll let you guys know that Greenwood is a renowned goal scorer. From a very young age, Greenwood have always been seen as one of the best next big thing to happen to Manchester United as a football club, not just in the youth level, but in the other. Of course, that is statement from right. But of course, you know as well that Greenwood hasn't been scoring goals for more than a year. His last goal came away to Brentford on January 19, 2022. And the result of an internal club investigation now means that he will never ever add to his tally of 35 goals in 129 games for Manchester United. Greenwood was arrested 11 days after his last goal against Brentford on the 19th of January 2022. Now, he was charged with attempted rape, assault, occasionally actual bodily harm, and engaging in controlling and coercive behavior, all relating to the same woman. Now, last month, the Crown Prosecution Service (CPS) discontinued proceedings against Greenwood, citing the withdrawal of key witnesses and new material coming to light. Now, the CPS spokesman, in dismissing those allegations, said there is no longer a realistic prospect of conviction. But here's the but now: the audio and photograph that triggered the case are still out there in the public. Now, those things still remain unexplained to date. Now, as much as Greenwood was a talent, he was also a liability. He made immature choices, but lots of young players do that when they grow up a bit. For instance, Solskjaer was forced to defend Greenwood. Remember, it was Solskjaer who gave Greenwood his debut as a 17-year-old in 2019. In a press conference, Solskjaer defended Greenwood by saying that Greenwood has always been on time to training. That was when reports surfaced that Greenwood had twice been late for training. However, Greenwood attendance and in training in general has been a concern. More than once, staff members had trouble establishing the whereabouts of Mason Greenwood. For instance, Greenwood was unavailable for the trip to Newcastle United and Paris Saint-Germain in October 2022. Solskjaer said it was a niggle. But behind the scene, like the name of this podcast, many people regarded his absence as unexplained. Greenwood then missed the game away to Everton the next month without warning. Why? What happened? He failed to turn up at the team hotel. A month earlier, in September 2020, Mail Online reported how Greenwood had hosted 5 or 6 parties in breach of social distancing regulation. Remember, 2020 was the COVID-19 year. Now, a guy who lived close to Mason Greenwood, Sean McKay, reported at that time that Greenwood rented through an Airbnb and that he was organizing parties. The music would go on until 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. He said the music was keeping him awake, that there were lots of raised voices. It got so bad that a group of kids were at the front of the door shouting, "Mason Greenwood, we don't care who you are a shit footballer. Let us in or we'll break your leg." This was in the height of lockdown. Now, another guy said this, that there were big nights on Greenwood doorstep last year. That what Greenwood was doing then even caught the attention of the police. The police drew the attention of Man United. Man United had a chat with Greenwood, but he didn't stop. Now, there was concern at United that Greenwood is losing it. Greenwood is losing it. Remember, he was called up to England in September 2020 after that incident. That was the incident that Southgate said there was an incident at Manchester United that they are still looking at, referring to Greenwood, before this rape allegation came to the forefront. Have mentioned 4 acts of misdemeanor on the part of the young man. Now, when United had report, when Greenwood was called up to the English national team, Greenwood did a Zoom press conference with a group of England reporters without the permission of the club. He was only 18 then. The club sought to look, okay, how are we going to do this thing about Greenwood now? So the club now decided to say, okay, let's do a media training for Greenwood, so that his first cap will be a positive story worth sharing fully. Greenwood got his England debut as a 78-minute substitute in the game against Iceland. He replaced Harry Kane. Now, Greenwood didn't make the trip to Copenhagen for the next game against Denmark. He was sent home alongside Phil Foden. Remember, they were both sent home for inviting girls to the team hotel, which is a breach of not just the team rule, but actually what was in place, and which is the social distance rule in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Southgate found out via England security personnel who were monitoring CCTV. Then the news hit the headline. England would have been thrown out of that tournament if not that another test was conducted and England immediately isolated Greenwood and Foden and flew them back to England immediately. Now, what did Foden did? Immediately, Foden went back and tendered an apology. Greenwood refused to tender an apology. Rather, he deleted all of his social media handle. Greenwood left that apology unattended until 14 days later. When he finally tendered an apology, he tendered the apology as if he was forced to write it. It was Manchester United staff who wrote it and asked him to post it, but he then edited it before posting it. You know, from the age of 16, it has always been a problem. There was a time when Greenwood, knowing full well that was a good player, and he was doing very well, told his teammate that you are not a good footballer. Of course, he was being right, but at that stage, you shouldn't be saying something like that. The staff corrected him and considered his mentality that of youthful delusion. Now, remember when Ronaldo was signed and he was asked his opinion? He somehow labeled Cristiano Ronaldo as a dead wood, meaning in English vernacular, he was finished. He was corrected again and won. Look, he has so many problems. Now, at a point in time when those problems were becoming too many, Manchester City tried to snap him from United. His father stood by him all through. This is part one. Part two, I will tell you guys what's going on.